Alright, I'm going to do a video on a review of NOE Bullet Molds. Has a digital thermometer, okay, that you can attach to the mold block. And that's this little unit right here. Now if you look on your NOE when you're buying the mold for another $2.50, it says drill out for probe on a drop-down box on any mold. And then what they do, they drill a hole and put a set screw, and the set screw fell out on me. I don't know where it went. They put a hole in the back of the mold block down here, and you take this probe, place it in to the block, and you can tighten it down with the set screw, and then it's locked in there with your unit. The cord's about 2 feet long, and it'll keep the temperature of your mold block up. It's a pretty basic device. I think it's a cooking thermometer of some sort. Let me back out here. And you turn it on, and the display lights up. And there's no manual or nothing with this, so you got to figure out how to program it, but you can program it. What it'll do, what I use it for, is I put the mold blocks on the handles on a hot plate. And when it gets up to about 280 or 300, it'll start to beep. If it goes to 325, it'll repeatedly beep. So this is a way to exactly get your mold block temperature preheated. And that's what I was using this for, basically. Now there is somebody on YouTube that has a video that shows you how to use this as per their instructions. The idea is, and once you heat the blocks up, you cast and you monitor this thermometer. And by monitoring the thermometer and keeping track with your different alloys and your different molds, you could get to where you pour and the bullets come out shiny, full, everything else. You can more or less watch the mold. If the mold gets too hot, they tell you to have a little electric fan blow some air over the mold, drop it down back into your temperature range. Say the temperature range you're casting good bullets, just as an example, is say 330 to 350. So once you get into casting, if your mold block starts to go up over the 350 or something, 360, 375, you may start getting a frosted bullet, okay? And how I found this out is, like I said, I found the way my setup is, this, other than using this to tell me when my mold block's preheated, I have a hard time, going to my bench, going to the table. That's where I knock the sprue off and drop the bullets. You'd have to have something on a bench where this cord, because I found the cord gets in the way. You're attached to this, and if you go too far, wander off, or you pull out the probe, okay? But so I got it just to see if it could help, and I use it to preheat the molds, but I found, because I got 2 or 3 different molds from this company with aluminum blocks, and I found that the small 6.53 cavity mold, when I had this attached, even when I was pouring, the temperature would drop on it, okay? The molds react differently. Then I had a much larger bullet, I think it's 316, 220 grain in a 5 cavity mold, and that mold and block totally reacted differently. Okay, where I had to drop my pot temperature back, and it was running hotter than the smaller one. This small 3 cavity mold was running kind of cool, but then when I put the same lead temperature and that and everything into a larger mold, this ran hot. And this is where that thermometer would have come in. See, because as I tuned it, just like I have for years without using a thermometer, and dropped back on everything, I got to where the bullets were coming out shiny and that. And it's just, it is a useful tool, other than and that's another reason I had that problem with my hand. Other than the fact it's a little cumbersome and you might have to change your setup to where you're not moving around as much. But it is useful, and it can pinpoint your mold temperature to where you're recycling or having less defective bullets. So it is a useful thing. I don't know, some people just, like the old way, just by eye, knowing your mold once you get used to it. But I did find it useful, and I guess it's worth it, and I'm going to use it more. I may have to change my setup in that, but I can see where it comes in handy, and it can be a helpful accessory to make your casting more efficient and quicker.